Welcome to the Quick and Easy Puzzle Book Business Course Introduction. My name is Shawn Hansen, and during this session, I'll be sharing an overview of what you can expect when you sign up for the full course. I don't want you to worry though, this isn't one of those big, hard sales pitch webinars. I'm going to do my best to make it informative because my goal here is to help you take the confusion out of deciding whether or not the puzzle book business is right for you. By the end of the session, I think you'll know, and that means when it comes time to buy, there really won't be any need to hesitate, to think about it, or to put it off. I want to give you an example of just one thing I'll be sharing during the initial session of the Quick and Easy Puzzle Book Business course. And that's what looking at Amazon's bestseller list reveals that most people miss. Now, a few days ago, I took a screenshot, and it was of the top 9 best-selling Sudoku puzzle books on Amazon. Here's the screenshot that I took. Most people look at this stuff to learn about titles, keywords, prices, categories, things like that, which is all good research. But I have to tell you that that's not what I looked at. What everyone should see, what I want you to see, the thing that I really think matters, and specifically matters when it comes to deciding whether or not puzzle books are a viable source of income, is this. These are 3 screenshots of the product details of the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 bestsellers. What I want you to notice is pointed out in red. This is absolute proof that puzzle books have staying power and that the market is ready for some new titles in the bestseller ranks. Number 1 was published in 2012, number 2 in 2013, and number 3 way back in 2008. These publication dates assure me that the puzzle book business is a solid, short, and long-term investment, and it's also proof that puzzle books are not a fad, because I can't think of a single fad that's had books on the bestseller list that are several years old. They just drop off. So this is a market that short-term and long-term you can be successful with. So who am I? I spent 10 years as a college English professor, and in 2010, I left that position to pursue my own writing and online business career. It didn't take too long before I was able to replace my salary, and since that time, I've grown my own self-publishing and marketing business to 6 figures in annual profits. Not earnings, but profits. In late 2015, I broke the adult coloring book code and went on to publish 6 bestsellers, 3 hot new releases, and I also set myself up so that I'm now selling enough copies of my books and related products to see 4-figure royalties each month with very little effort. My credentials are this. I know how to teach, and I know how to earn money online. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my teaching skills to share the steps you can put into place to earn money with puzzle books, which is more than enough about me. Let's talk a bit more about puzzle books, shall we? So far, we've established that when it comes to publishing puzzle books on Amazon, there's more than ample proof that there's a hungry market. We've also proven that quality puzzle books have serious staying power. Remember, the number 3 book was published in 2008. On top of what the bestsellers list reveals, there's a trend that I want to share with you that really puts things into perspective, and you're looking at it here. This is a comparison graph of the popularity of coloring books for adults versus Sudoku puzzles. Coloring books are in blue, puzzle books are in red, both on the bar graph on the left and the little squiggly lines. There are 2 things that I want you to see. I think they're important. The first is that the interest level when it comes to puzzle books has remained steady. You'll notice that coloring books have spiked, kind of up, kind of down, spiked. And you'll notice the biggest spike is right around the holiday season. That's okay. But puzzle books have remained consistent throughout. And the second thing that's important to note is at the end of that little curve, we're going in an upward tick again. So puzzle books are now trending up again. Now, coloring books are still selling like mad. They'll keep selling like crazy because at this point we know that's not a fad. That's why this is a really nice comparison. But looking at these numbers, what's important for us to keep in mind is just how much bigger the puzzle book market is and has been. This has been consistent for some time. Puzzle books are also in the top 1% of all the books that Amazon sells. That means the earning potential is through the roof. There's two big reasons for this. Puzzle books are disposable. In other words, they get used up and thrown away. So I buy a puzzle book, I fill it out, and when it's done, it's done. And you know, there are always some puzzles in just about every puzzle book that are a little too easy or a little too hard, and they don't even get done. So this is a really disposable market. Puzzle books are also collectible, and by collectible I don't mean rare. I mean no puzzler wants to run out of puzzles. So think of it as a polite type of hoarding. Those of us who are book people, we know what that is. We hoard ebooks, we hoard print books, we hoard fiction, nonfiction, coloring books. If you're into books, you hoard, you collect. Puzzlers are no different. That means that I might have 10 puzzle books, but if I see book 11 and it intrigues me, I'm going to buy it. Because puzzlers are always looking for new books, right? Because they're disposable, we go through them lickety-split. It means there's a steady demand for puzzle books. And there's a bonus here. Puzzlers carry books with them everywhere they go. On trains, on planes, in taxis, on vacation to the office. All those places. And it's not uncommon for puzzlers to have different books for various occasions. Smaller ones for travel, bigger ones for the home and office. If you start looking around, you'll start seeing people pulling out puzzle books at various places, especially when travel or waiting is involved. And those tend to be smaller books versus the bigger books that people work on their coffee tables, dining room tables, on the sofa, things like that. This is all talk about hobby. But solving puzzles is also one of the most common ways people intentionally exercise their brains. So here's just one of the subgenres many people are not thinking about when it comes to the puzzle book market. According to the Alzheimer's Association, and I'm quoting, mental decline as you age appears to be largely due to altered connections among brain cells. But research has found that keeping the brain active seems to increase its vitality and may build its reserves of brain cells and connections. You could even generate new brain cells. Now, I took this right off the Alzheimer's Association website, which is at alz.org. There's good information there. They go on to say that keeping one's brain active every day is important, and they suggest that people read, write, work crossword or other puzzles as part of a plan to help brain function. Now, this is not some new scientific breakthrough. This whole concept of brain exercise to prevent the onset of certain diseases that we're seeing as people live longer, specifically things like Alzheimer's and dementia. This isn't new. This is information that's been common knowledge for some time, and study after study continues to support the relationship between keeping mentally active and reducing those onsets. That means there's a category within the puzzle book market that deserves our attention. It's a subgenre that almost no one is serving. With all the research that's available to support the positive effects of puzzling on both Alzheimer's and dementia, where are the puzzle books in these categories? This is in the health, fitness, and dieting category. And you'll notice there are things about staying healthy and obviously fitness and dieting, because that's the category. But mental health and mental fitness are a huge concern today. This doesn't look like a market anybody is really attacking. It's open season for puzzle book creators who really want to talk about health and fitness in a mind way as it relates to doing puzzles. This is another screenshot I took earlier today. This is a set of the top 9 bestsellers in self-help. The thing is, more and more people are realizing that physical exercise as well as mental exercise are important to long-term health. And again, because people are living longer and living physically healthier, mental acuity is a huge concern. So people like me who are in our early 50s are already thinking, hey, I want to plan for the future. I want to continue to eat well. I want to continue to exercise, and I want to make sure my mind is in good shape. So I'm looking to self-help categories to improve myself. And yet, with all of the research that says how important it is to keep mentally active and do things like reading, writing, and working puzzles, this is another category that seems barren when it comes to really good books. Another open market. Now let's get down to specifics. This is a search result. I typed in prevent Alzheimer's in the book category, and this is what I got. So this is somebody going specifically to Amazon to try and fight Alzheimer's disease. And yet there's not a puzzle book to be found. Granted, this is only a partial screenshot. I didn't go all the way to the top 100, but there ought to be a puzzle book or two in here because, again, places like the Alzheimer's Association are talking about the importance of working crosswords and other types of puzzles. The other thing about these screenshots, we know that they're coming from searches. So consumers are searching for answers in these categories, and many of them, because they have done research, are already aware of how beneficial puzzling is to mental acuity. They know that. But we're not reminding them because our books aren't in these categories, which means listing our books in these categories is going to help us make sales while providing quality content for customers. That's just one of several subgenres waiting for puzzle books to be added. We'll talk more about that in the full course. I want to shift to other puzzle book options that no one's talking about. Now, Sudoku gets the bulk of attention when it comes to creating puzzle books, and there's good reason. Sudoku puzzles are extremely popular. And really, if you've created puzzles on your own at this point, you know that they're very simple to make. I would say in a lot of ways they're even the easiest puzzles to make. But there's more to puzzling than Sudoku. And if you're smart enough to take advantage of that, you're going to increase your profit potential. Now, during the full course, I'm going to talk about a number of popular options that few people know how to build or even consider. But I want to take a look at two and just give you an overview. The first one you're looking at right now, it's Kakuro Puzzles. And Kakuro Puzzles are loosely related or a blending of crosswords and Sudoku. Now, Kakuro puzzles are solved by filling in the blank squares in the grid using combinations of the numbers 1 through 9, so that the rows and the columns add up to the corresponding numerical clues. So in what you're looking at, the white numbers are my clues. So on the top left, there's a 4 over the 3. So the 4 has 2 boxes to the right of it, and I have to come up with numbers that add up to 4, 2 of them. And numbers can't be repeated. So my only option here is the number 1 and the number 3. The mystery becomes, is it 1, 3 or is it 3, 1? That's part of how you solve the Kakuro puzzle. So again, this is an offshoot of 2 of the most popular types of puzzles, crosswords, where you have clues, and Sudoku, where you're working with numbers. So this is a really viable option that a lot of people aren't thinking about, but that is very, very popular. Number 2, which is the acrostic puzzle. Now, these combine elements of the crossword puzzle with anagrams. There are 2 parts to acrostic puzzles. The first, which is at the top, is this set of lettered clues, and I'm sorry, this is at the bottom, the set of lettered clues with the numbered blanks. So these are the clues. You'll see them A, B, C, D, E, F, G along the bottom here. The answers to those questions or clues then go into that top part, which is a box with numbered blanks and spaces. So each of those little boxes in that horizontal image that looks a little bit like a crossword puzzle layout, those have numbers and letters, and they correspond to the answers that are below. So the way you work these puzzles is you go back and forth between the clues and the box, very much like a crossword puzzle, but they have a twist. And that is that the end result is traditionally a quotation or phrase. The thing is, acrostics are kind of like a game of Monopoly. They require a lot of time and effort. And while there is a rabid fan base for acrostics, there are whole books with nothing but acrostics in them, there's an equally rabid fan base for what I'm calling mini acrostics, which are a lot like the short game version of Monopoly. If you're a Monopoly player, you know you can play it the regular way, which takes several hours, or you can jump to the short version, where you pass out properties and you dole out the money, and it's really designed to take only about an hour. Mini acrostics are a lot like that. They have fewer clues, and because of that, their solution is shorter. They're sometimes referred to as quotograms or figurates, which will make sense if you're a puzzler. This is an untapped market that's waiting to be filled. Like I said, in the full course, I'm going to talk you through a lot of the popular options you might not be aware of unless you're a die-hard puzzler. If you don't have 20 puzzle books sitting by your desk, these are things you probably aren't aware of, but I hope you get some sense of the potential here with what I've shown you. Now, as I'm certain you do know, anyone who wants to earn money by self-publishing needs to be able to produce quality books at a fast pace to keep buyers happy and coming back for more. And that brings me to the next section. How can you publish more books faster by creating derivative puzzles? This is one of my favorite things. Most people think of derivative content as taking someone else's work and using it as a jumping off point for their own, a new version. In other words, as inspiration. That's fine, as long as you're creating something new and you aren't violating copyright in any way. But when I say derivatives, I'm talking about a different type altogether. Content that's quicker and easier to find and 100% guaranteed not to bring copyright into questions because it's your own stuff. Let me show you what I mean. Right now, you are looking at a Sudoku puzzle I made. This is the very same puzzle in a derivative form. So here's the original Sudoku puzzle, and this is a derivative form. Now this looks kind of wonky, so just bear with me. In red are the numbers from a traditional Sudoku puzzle. So this is what it looked like, and this is the number one derivative. What I've done is I've taken the word education and I have substituted this 9-letter word so that the letters replace the numbers. And so the new derivative puzzle looks like this. So puzzle number one, a familiar Sudoku puzzle. The in-between process, where you can see that the numbers are being exchanged to letters, and the end result, so to speak, though you still have to work the puzzle. Now you might be wondering, do people do these? Absolutely. There's also a really kind of cool part about this, because using words in place of numbers, right? The letters which form words, you can create thematic Sudoku puzzles. It's kind of cool. All kinds of implications here. We're going to talk more about that because this is the kind of puzzle you can also personalize, which is a very fun thing to do. Now that's one puzzle. So I created one puzzle, and by doing that, I've created a second. These are both puzzles that I could put into a book on Amazon because they're different content. So I'm perfectly safe. I'm not violating any of Amazon's policies about unique content. Also, this is the kind of puzzle that if you purchased both kinds, you'd be okay with that because the solution, though it's, quote, the same, is completely different. So that's 2 puzzles from 1. Let's make it a third, shall we? This is a second derivative puzzle. Brand new puzzle out of a starting point. So all I've done here is added a background that can be colored. Think about that for a minute. We already know how popular coloring books are. And we know how popular puzzle books are. There is a crossover market. And now what you've done is you've created a puzzle page that is also a coloring page using the same Sudoku puzzle that I originally created. This is unique content. But I'm not done. I think it's worth a third puzzle. So what I've done in this case is I've created a nice frame and I've put on an inspirational word. Once again, same puzzle, different presentation, completely different content, derivative puzzle number 3. This is a different market. You can market this to different people. This is one market, right? Your regular Sudoku puzzle. This is one market. This is a second market. There are crossovers. There are people who are going to want to do letter Sudoku just like number Sudoku. But imagine the implications. This is a completely different market. Again, there might be crossovers, but these are colorists who might be more interested in this. And then finally, the people who want to pass along inspirational, affirmation, positive message stuff to clients, to themselves as gifts. And not to mention, you do know Joy is a name, right? So this is a personalized puzzle that anyone named Joy would feel lucky to have. All kinds of ways to really jazz this stuff up. This is just some of what I'm going to teach you how to do in the complete course. And in case you're wondering, the answer is yes. I will show you how to create these backgrounds, these frames, and even the word art, just like these examples. Now to wrap things up, I want to talk about how you can earn money with puzzle books. Let's talk about other places and ways to boost your puzzle book profits. So we've established that Amazon is a great place to sell your puzzle books, and publishing through CreateSpace is a quick and easy way to do that. However, we kind of brought this up when people were asking, Amazon prohibits ebooks that are activity-based but not interactive, which means you cannot publish ebook versions of your puzzle books on Amazon's Kindle platform. Now that's a real problem because people like instant downloads. And they also like to be able to print things and go. Since we know what a huge market ebooks are, there's got to be an answer, right? Well, the answer is yes. There are actually several answers. And this is what I want you to consider. Number 1, I want you to think about selling ebook versions of your puzzle books from your very own website. It's a lot easier to do than you might think, and the profits are solid. You aren't splitting the profits with multiple parties. There's often a small fee associated if you use something like PayPal to process your payments, but it's very negligible. And you'll get a greater return in royalties on this than you would from Amazon, even if they let you do it, which they don't. The second thing is also turning to sites like Etsy. There are other sites like that, but online third-party shopping sites that allow you to sell ebook versions of your puzzle books. Now, during the course, I will be talking about how to do this. I'm not going to train you in how to set up your website or train you in how to set up an Etsy shop, but I will show you examples of how I'm doing these things and, most importantly, how you can set up your products to make this work. That's the question that most people have. How do I make a PDF to sell on my website? How do I make a download link? How do I upload stuff? How do I deliver stuff? We are going to talk about that. Now, another benefit of options like this, when you're taking control of your sales platform and going outside of Amazon to really boost profits and opportunities, this means you can also offer a variety of items that even CreateSpace won't allow. And specifically, I'm talking about single pages, small packs of puzzles, and custom puzzles. Remember, we talked about the fact that that Sudoku puzzle that had the frame and the word joy, well, that's a person's name. There are other ways to customize puzzles, and that's something I'll spend time on during the design portion of this course. Those types of things aren't really suited to a platform like Amazon because who would buy a whole book of joy puzzles if her name wasn't Joy. But Joy might buy a smaller pack on a shop like Etsy, and you could certainly set it up so that anybody can submit a name and you can create a design. So custom puzzles are a nice offshoot. And you're a business owner. And as any business owner knows, the more items and price points you have to offer customers, the more customers are likely to buy. Now, another great way to add to your profits is by creating content for other people. And that means all you have to do is make puzzles. You can leave the sales and the marketing and the packaging and the promoting and all that stuff to someone else. And because you're providing a valuable time-saving service, and you have a set of skills, and you have the software, and all of that, you can charge top dollar for your work. That's also something I'm going to be talking about during the full course, along with more options that you have to boost your puzzle book profits. So Amazon's a great place, and I recommend it. But I also recommend to look at this as a business to leverage the product that you create in the most productive and profitable ways. This is a 4-session training intensive, something that I consider sort of a boot camp if you want to take puzzle books to the business level. And puzzle-related products, because I'm going to talk about more than just puzzle books. We're going to talk about puzzle pages and puzzle projects and things like that. So it's 4 consecutive Thursdays. The course goes on sale this Thursday. It's on special launch sale for a week. And at the end of that week, on the 15th, we have our very first session. So while I know you're really excited about getting started, as am I, we're only 2 days away from the launch and 9 days away from the beginning of this course. So you can be thinking about stuff, reviewing this webinar, generating some ideas. Then the next 3 sessions are on consecutive Thursdays. So we've got the first session on the 15th. They're all at 10 a.m. Pacific. Session number 1 is called Finding Your Space in the Puzzle Book Business. I'm going to be teaching you where you want to jump in so that you can take your books to number 1 in some of those categories. I'm also going to be talking about what you want to do in terms of creating puzzle books, who your target market is. Remember, we talked about, okay, great, we've got puzzlers, but what about people who are fighting off dementia? What about large print books? What about kids? So we're going to talk about what the different subgenres within the puzzle book business are that will mesh the best with your personal taste and maybe even the market you already have. Several people have mentioned, not questions, but comments that I've seen talking about, oh, I'm in the health field and this would be a great supplement. Did you see how I did that, supplement? Meaning the puzzles, not literally supplements. Health fields, education fields, things like that. So we're going to talk about finding your space. And the following week, on the 22nd, we're going to, the session's called Planning and Executing Your Puzzle Book Business. You'll learn what the competition doesn't yet know about the step-by-step process of earning with puzzle books. A lot of people make the mistake of going, I'm going to make puzzle books, here are 5, boom, I've published them, and there's this big letdown. That's not the way to do it. It's not the healthy way to do it for your own sanity, and it's certainly not the profitable way to do it. So your plan is going to be very specifically dictated by your market, what you plan to do with your business, your timeline, your budget, your skill set. All those things are going to go into planning and executing your personal puzzle book business. We're going to talk about how you figure that out and how you set it up. Then the third session, which is on September 29th, is getting down to design. I'm going to teach you how to create and publish many types of puzzles. The design element of them, doing it really fast, lightning fast. The whole point is to prove that money really does love speed. This is a key to self-publishing success. It's not about just firing off junk. It's about learning to be quick and efficient and proficient at doing what you do in a really top quality manner because your audience wants more stuff. So we're going to talk about basics, and then we're going to talk about fancy-pantsing stuff up, kind of like some of the samples of the derivative puzzles I showed you. We're going to talk about customization, other things. You know, people brought up cards and things like that. We'll talk about those things and getting down to design so you really have the information you need to publish more than just books, because the market is out there to do more than just publish books. That's one great way to make money, but it's not the only way, and it's often not the most profitable way in the long run. And then finally, session number 4, I'm going to talk about the 3 best ways to publish. That's on October 6th, and this is very specific. We're going to talk about print books and ebooks and other things that you can do, because there's a whole way that you can set up online puzzling, and that's another very lucrative area. So this isn't just about CreateSpace. It's about CreateSpace, but it's about the other ways that you can publish, the best ways to publish, and how you can profit doing those things. We'll talk about the many ways you can sell in that session as well. We touched on it, your own website, places like Etsy. Somebody brought up another site, and I've lost track of what it was. There are many places online that you can sell electronic copies of what you would do in print on a place like Amazon. And then we will talk about ways to make things like membership sites, subscriptions, PLR, all those things that will allow you to look beyond the basics of publishing and creating to really earn more money. Now, some people have asked, and I'm sure some of you are also wondering, are there any other offers? There are 2. The first one is the Monster Pack of Puzzle Book Extras. This contains 100 high-resolution graphics that include frames and background and word art that you can use to create derivative puzzles without having to do all the work yourself. It also includes how-to videos so you can actually put this stuff to work. Now, those samples that I showed you about the derivative puzzles, remember, some of them had backgrounds, the star with the coloring page. Others of them had the box around with the joy, right? Those types of designs are exactly what you get in the Monster Pack of Puzzle Book Extras. So if you're concerned about doing extra graphic work, this stuff, and there'll be more available. I'll continue to put this stuff out. This will be available as an add-on to the course. It will be available extra as well as a standalone purchase, but the price is going to go up. The how-to videos are very important because I don't just give you 100 extras, backgrounds, frames, words, and go, okay, have a nice time. I'm going to show you in these videos as part of this how to make them work with puzzles. So my hope is that you actually use them. You don't just buy them and let them sit on your hard drive. So during the launch, they're $27. After launch week, which means after the 15th, it goes up to $47. That's add-on number 1. And again, you don't need this for the course. This just makes it easier to do some of the work that you're going to be doing. Then the second option is the Sudoku Stars Puzzle Pack with PLR. This pack includes 30 Sudoku puzzles. They're 10 easy, 10 medium, 10 hard. You get answers. They're puzzles I've done. I've created them for you. They're original. You also get 30 star backgrounds. You get a done-for-you book, which is ready to publish, and you get covers. The done-for-you book and the covers are editable. So the smart consumer understands what this really is a set of templates to create your own stuff over and over again. All of this comes with PLR rights, that's private label rights. So you can create opt-ins, gifts, and more right away. You cannot sell PLR on Amazon, but you can sell this stuff from your own website and from any place else that does not require original, unique content. This stuff is great to use as gifts for your audience, as contests. If you've got a social media site, you can put up a couple of these puzzles, ask people to color them and solve them, post their results. There's all kinds of ways to use this stuff. And the thing that catches people off guard a lot of the time is, I've got a website, I need to start a list, what do? I don't have a product. Well, boom. This is the kind of product that's ideal for an opt-in. Okay, you wouldn't have to use all of it. You can use parts of it. So that's $17. This concludes the Quick and Easy Puzzle Book Business Course Introduction.